Two guys in their early 50s with one dream: to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Pilgrims, welcome back to the Missing Links Golf Show. There's two people that I would like to give a warm welcome to for joining me on the show tonight. One of which is Andy Walker, who's got a very quizzical look on his face, and the other.
I was going to say I'm very intrigued to know who the other person is.
Oh, I think you know who it is. The other person joining us on this episode tonight is the man himself, the Admiral Lord Nelson.
Yes, I am well aware.
Yes,
we've reached the milestone.
We have.
This is the Nelson.
Yep, it's the
for
Nelson.
anyone who doesn't understand cricket, then there is a story behind it, which I'll let the cricketer explain what the story is.
And since he couldn't be here tonight, I'll take that one. So, yes, Nelson is a little bit of a superstition, particularly in the old dart in the British Isles, where when the score is at 111 or any multiple thereof, so Richie Benaud's favourite number of 222 would also count as double Nelson, 333 triple Nelson, and so on and so forth. But the superstition is that when the score is on Nelson or a multiple thereof, that all of the players not batting in the batting team, so all the rest, the other 9 sitting on the sidelines or in the stands, need to lift their feet off the ground until a run is scored. And you used to see iconic umpire David, I think it was David Shepherd. He used to, and Shep, he was a big ship of a man himself.
He was, wasn't he?
You'd see him standing out there and, behind the stumps or out at square leg, shuffling himself around from one foot to the other so that he was always keeping at least 1 foot off the ground to assist the batting team.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It's one of those many stupid superstitions in
there's
in
a
the
lot,
game.
certainly in cricket. There's a lot. I know there was, certainly from an Australian perspective, there's 87.
Yeah, well, that's the Devil's number. It's 13 short of 100.
13 short of 100. And I know that was some, and I don't know if it's still the case, that if the batsman was in the 90s, no one was able to change seats.
Oh, for sure.
So wherever you were sitting, if someone sort of got into the 90s, you were not allowed to move seats until they scored a ton.
Yeah, 100%.
So there's all these superstitions, and I know Steve Waugh used to have a little sort of red rag in his pocket.
Yep.
And I think it was his right pocket. It was always the right pocket. And then there's I've heard quite a few. So it's quite a superstitious game. I don't think golf is that superstitious.
Well,
I mean there are some superstitions, but not. I don't think it's as much as cricket.
Not to that degree. Cricket's got a lot of superstitions. I mean, as a batsman, that many batsmen believed that you had to put on one pad, like one particular leg before the other, and you always had to pad up in that particular order, otherwise it would bring bad luck.
Wow.
That was a common one. And I actually was guilty of that for quite a while, until I made a concerted effort one season to say, I am going to deliberately break every one of my superstitious habits and see what happens.
Yep.
That season
that was your last season of cricket?
No, it wasn't. But what it was, Andy Walker, that season was my best run scoring season of my entire career.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that I think there's something to be said actually for not getting caught up in superstitions too much. So I'm curious, Pilgrims, get on the Facebook page and let us know. Do you have a golf superstition? And some people do. It might be to do with having to have the logo facing a particular way when you tee the ball up. There can be practical reasons for that too. Some people, it's a superstition. Others might play with the same particular tee for as long as possible. And here's one for you, Andy Walker. I'm actually doing this at the moment. I've had the same tee for my driver, that It's white with the blue rubber top on it.
Yep.
I reckon I've used that tee for probably 2 years.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Just because it won't break and I can't lose it.
They're pretty sturdy, those
awesome.
plastic tees with the rubber. The only problem is when you get onto a tee that's really firm.
Oh, because they're bendy. You can't get it in.
Yeah, they're bendy. You can't get it in. So yeah.
So then you need to pull out the wooden tee, make a hole, and then put that one.
Good one.
So that's one solution. But
how do you go with pace of play when you
like, what are you doing? You've used that tee using another tee. Yeah,
playing partners just going, come on, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's my tee hole making tee, not my tee that I used to put the ball on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've used the blue and
Jack
white one.
Nicklaus that had 3 cents in his pocket. I think Jack Nicklaus had a superstition, something like that. I've read somewhere about a couple of golf superstitions that I can't remember exactly what it was, but
possibly.
Yeah, I think Jack Nicklaus had something like that. So I know
there was another guy
superstitions.
There was another guy. I can't remember what his name was, but he always used to wear a red shirt on Sundays.
Was it Sunday red? Is that the specific?
It could have been
shade of red.
It could have been. But so they're out there. So pilgrims, get on the Facebook page. Let us know what's your superstition. Do you have one? What would happen if you broke it? And where did it come from? We'd love to hear all about it. So there you go, Andy Walker. Fantastic introduction to the Nelson episode for 2026.
I'm actually just looking up.
Oh, is this live Googling whilst we're recording?
It is live
Champagne
Googling.
Podcasting at its finest.
Yeah. Although I think this isn't Google, because
you're on the AI, eh? You're looking at ChatGPT.
It's Google, so it's what's Google's AI? I know, like there's Copilot for
that's Microsoft.
But for Microsoft, there's Grok for Elon
Twitter.
Musk's one for Twitter. I've had a mental blank with Google. So yes, Jack Nicklaus famously adhered to a strict superstition requiring him to carry exactly 3 coins in his pocket during every round of golf.
Family?
Yeah. Family, yeah, apparently.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Jack Nicklaus, 3 coins.
3 coins. Maybe give that
It wasn't
one a go.
3 cents. It was three coins.
3 coins. Could be anything. Could be $1.50. Could be $6 in this country.
It was just coins.
I might give it a go if I carry 3 coins and
Play like Jack Nicklaus.
maybe that's the secret. Oh, wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
So there you go. The Nelson. We're off to a flyer.
That's a good 8-minute discussion of superstitions. Anyway, speaking of playing golf like Jack Nicklaus,
Yep.
I've got a round of golf to talk about from the weekend.
Yep.
Which
was it really like Jack Nicklaus?
no. There's no one that's actually.
In fact, I reckon Jack Nicklaus may have had a lower score than you over 27 holes.
I reckon I shot Jack Nicklaus's age.
I reckon no. See, he's not that old yet. I think he's still in his 80s. Hang on, let me Google it.
Spoiler alert. Did I break Jack Nicklaus's age?
Yeah. Go look it up.
Check it out. Let us know. Yeah, I think he might be 88.
Jack.
Double snowman. Oh, it's this champagne podcasting once again. This is so apologies, pilgrims. Andy Walker's not that quick at typing either. He's got the old hunt and peck.
86.
86. I didn't break his age. That's a good target though. Every round is to make sure that we shoot and let's figure out which of the famous golfers we've broken the age of for each round. There's a nice little game to play.
So Google's just thrown up a couple of other questions. Under the heading "People also ask."
Oh, do they?
Is Jack Nicklaus a billionaire?
Good question. Is he? I'm going to say no.
400 mil,
Yeah,
apparently.
not a billionaire.
Is Jack Nicklaus a drinker?
Ooh, I'm going to say no.
I really wasn't a drinker, and Barbara didn't drink too much either. It used to give me headaches, so no.
Okay. I'm 2
Who
for
is
2.
the oldest man to win the Masters?
As in when they won it or
Yeah.
or now?
Well, when they've won it, obviously.
Oh, the oldest man to have won the Masters. I reckon you're going to be going back into the early years.
Now, just remember, I have Googled Jack Nicklaus.
Okay,
that may be a hint.
No, that's a good. Okay, so it's probably someone that played in a similar.
It's not
time.
Ben Hogan.
So it's probably Gary Player.
No.
Okay, my second guess.
Are Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus friends?
Oh, that's an interesting question. No.
The two men are close, having often been compared to one another and remain friends to this day.
I reckon they're making that up. I don't think Jack's got any time for Tiger whatsoever with all of his womanizing.
And was Jack Nicklaus a nice guy?
100%. Lovely bloke.
Very cool.
No, that was Arnold Palmer.
Very, very cool. That's what it says. It says Jack was cool, man.
No, Arnold Palmer was cool.
Anyway.
Jack was a nice guy.
There are more questions, but how long do we have?
This was not scripted. May come as a surprise, but this was not in the agreed episode plan
agenda
that we talked about earlier. Not at all. One thing that was agreed, though, that we do need to acknowledge early in the show is that we should be doing a wrap-up of the January results of the yearly championship. However, for a variety of reasons, we are going to hold that over until next week. So you've still...
Is that because you don't have a dice handy? Or?
No, that's not anything to do with it. In fact, the dice of truth is right here.
Oh, so it's only one dice. It's not actually two. You're not going to go with two?
Well, no. So, I mean, it's technically a die in that case, not a dice. The die of truth. That doesn't sound as good.
No.
You can't die of truth. Or can you? Now, there's an esoteric question. No, we'll be doing that next week. Few little things to sort out before we get into that. So this week we're going to talk golf. I did have a round of golf on the weekend, Andy Walker, so I'm going to talk to you about that.
Yep. Nice.
I attempted to make that segue in some relation to Jack Nicklaus. Obviously, it was nothing to do with Jack, as I'm sure this story will become pretty obvious when we get into it. So again, this won't be a shot by shot for the simple reason that we don't have all night to go through all 91 shots that I made on the day. That's right. Read it and wait, pilgrims.
It'll end up the length of a Joe Rogan episode.
It probably would. So it was not a great day out in terms of the score. However, a few things to consider on this one. The first is that it was, I think, possibly the hottest conditions that I have ever played golf in.
Right.
On the thermometer.
Are you talking about your golf game or
No, I'm talking about the temperature. The temperature was just under 45 degrees Celsius.
That's warm.
We teed off at 12:30 p.m.
Wow. Right in the middle of it as well.
As a 3-ball, myself and two of the pilgrims, Matt and Tim. And I'm going to put it out there. Fantastic company, boys. Loved having a game of golf with you. We've been trying to make this happen for a little while now, and hadn't been able to get the diaries to line up. So once we finally did, and then we saw the forecast, we decided to forge on anyway because we'd been trying to get this game of golf happening for a while.
Were you at least in a cart?
We were in a cart. So here's the thing for you.
Well, that's not too bad.
You may be aware that there is a golf cart that lives in my garage, which does belong to one of the other pilgrims, Benny. Now, a friend of his had used the cart on the prior weekend, and because I was away, hadn't plugged it in to charge in case the batteries caught fire.
Right.
which was good. So I got home just before, probably an hour before tea time, and I was going to race down to the course. And of course, the batteries were dead, so I wasn't able to take the cart. So in a panic, I messaged Tim and Matt, and I said, "Hey, have either of you guys got a spare seat to cart for me to drive around in?" Because I didn't really fancy walking in 45-degree heat. Pilgrims from the US, 45 degrees Fahrenheit is something like 110 or so. Sorry, 45 Celsius is about
Celsius.
110 Fahrenheit. Very hot.
Yeah, I think 40 is about 100, isn't it? That's what I've always thought.
Yeah, I think 39.5 or something, yeah. So, yeah, very, very hot. So, anyway, message came back. Yep, no worries. Matt said, you can jump in with me. He said, I've got air conditioning in the golf cart, which, of course, I thought was just opening the front visor.
Yeah.
But here's what he'd done, Andy Walker. And Matt, if you're listening, please chuck a photo of this on the Facebook group because it was sheer genius. He'd been to Bunnings, and the weed sprayer, you have the pump action on the bottle. The bottle carries about 10 litres or something, or whatever. And then he'd cable tied the cord and the nozzle to the ceiling inside the cart. And so every time we would get in the cart and start driving, he could squeeze the trigger and that would blow a mist of water on our face as we were driving along in the cart. And it was a lifesaver. It was amazing. I'm pretty sure that he bought a new weed spray bottle that hadn't been used for his Zero or Roundup before we started driving around the
You'd
golf
hope
course.
so. Yeah.
But it was fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant. So well done, Matty. And I think you could patent that idea and you'll go okay. But from a weather perspective, I'm not actually going to blame the weather for the golf because I don't really think that was the issue. I definitely think it made it difficult to concentrate throughout the latter part of the round, and certainly when things were going rough, it definitely made it hard to stay 100% focused and stay in the round. But I think all in all, it was one of those days, Andy Walker, where everything was just 10% off. You know, nothing was terrible, but nothing was good. And therefore, a drive would just trickle into the trees and be dead, and so you'd be chipping out sideways, and or a putt would look really good and then just miss, or all of those things looked like they were okay, but just weren't quite good enough, and then those scores rack up really quickly. So, if you look at it from strokes,
especially if that's for the full round, and it
was
in most instances, you get parts of your round like that, but generally speaking, there's a run where you actually have a run of good holes.
Yeah.
But if that's the case for the entire round, then that becomes a bit of a struggle, especially in 45 degrees.
And that's exactly what happened. And so it wasn't the case of there was quadruple bogeys and then birdies or anything like that. It was the bogey train with a couple of pars and a couple of doubles thrown in, to be honest. And it was nothing good, nothing spectacularly bad, but everything just mediocre enough to, wrap itself up to a 91 at the end of the day, which unfortunately from a Stableford perspective was 25 Stableford points, which is just unfortunately not going to get the job done. So yeah, that's where we ended up.
So have you looked at your strokes gained for the round, or is it just you're looking at this round going, it's one of those outliers. I'm just not gonna worry about it,
mate. I did look at the strokes gained, and what was interesting, I think I made it was 35 or 36 putts for the round, which you would look at and go, well, that's going to be a bad strokes gained result. But so many of them were from a long way away and went close to going in, and then there were tap ins, and so I only lost 1.27 strokes on putting, against a scratch benchmark. Short game was minus 6.4, and as it really was, it was awful. Short game was awful. It was getting close to yippee at one point.
Right.
So there's definitely work to be done there. But then, tee shots and approaches were both 4 and 5 down as well. So, and that was a result. Like I say, everything was kind of like a just miss. And if a drive just missed the fairway, it would be dead behind a tree, or it would hit a tree and go further in. It wouldn't just, kind of be on the edge with a shot. Like there was the golf gods were conspiring as well as my own ability was conspiring against me for the day. So it's one of those ones.
You didn't end up getting stuck in some bark like a meter up the tree, did you?
No, that was about the only thing I didn't do. But what did happen, in fact, happened to two of us, happened to Matt as well on a hole, is hit a ball in general play slightly into the tree line, get up there, no golf ball, completely vanished. So we both suffered that fate, unfortunately, and at different times. And, obviously that causes a 2-shot penalty. So that was disappointing, but we couldn't, and it was definitely nobody else because we were literally the only group that was out on the golf course at that point. There was no other afternoon tee times. There was no one else that was stupid enough to be playing golf when we were out there playing golf. But so I'm not going to talk about too much detail about the round itself, but I will have a chat about a conversation that we had after the round because I think this is quite interesting. So Pilgrim Matt, for those of you that are in the yearly championship and on our members' Facebook page, you would see him posting some pretty red hot rounds of golf. He was playing off +1 for the day. He hits a ball a mile, Andy Walker. It's a different game, but he, after going around in the cart with me for the day, he actually noticed a few things which he shared with me after the round, which I think is worth talking about. So the first thing he said was that in my address position, my hands are quite low and quite close to my body.
Right.
He then said that I have at address a slightly open club face. And he said that I have a tendency, particularly with the driver, of having a bit of a forward press with my hands before takeaway in the golf swing. And a tendency to have my hands in front of the ball at address as well. You might remember this was something that Jake, the club pro, picked up when we had a lesson a little while ago, which we'd addressed, but is obviously creeping back into the game. And as a result, those things have a tendency to create a bit of a flipping action at impact because your body is aware of what's going on subconsciously, is trying to actually square the club face. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah,
Thoughts,
but having an open club face at address, it's an interesting one because Jack Nicklaus always used to say that he wanted to have a slightly open. Now he obviously hit a fade, but he wanted to have a slightly open club face at address. So I guess it depends on how open the club face is and what you're trying to achieve with the ball.
Yeah. Well, it's not deliberate.
If it's like very open, if it's you've got an open club face, and that's an issue. The same as, well, a closed club face is probably worse. But anything slightly open, because I have a slightly open club face at address, but that's also a little bit intentional too, because I don't want to have a closed club face at address, so I always try and be slightly open. In regards to the hands being too low, again, with your hands being low, that will give you a tendency to pick the club up quicker. If you've got your hands up too high, for instance, you have a tendency to come inside quicker and probably get a little bit too flat. Again, with those two things, sort of open club face, hands low at address, and then when you do the forward press, again, you're probably going to be picking the club up maybe a little bit too quick, or at least quicker than what you want.
I don't think that's actually my issue, because my tendency with my swing plane when I get off plane is actually being too flat, not too steep.
And that's my issue too.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at someone like, say, Minwoo Lee, who probably has lower hands than what sort of other golfers have on tour, and he actually picks the club up. He's got quite a steep backswing. You know, certainly when he gets his lead forearm gets to parallel on the backswing, he's actually got quite a steep backswing, and I think that probably helps him sort of, you know, drop the club into the slot and really try and, you know, fire the hips and fire it out there. So that works for him. But again, I think you've got to have a combination that works for you. And if your hands are too low, then that's gonna create its own issues.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it is an issue. I don't know if it needs to be addressed, if it needs to be changed, if it needs to be fixed. I do know that it was just interesting that probably more the hands pressing forward with the open club face combination. That was absolutely something that we worked on when I had that lesson with Jake, and I know that as a result of that, because when I was doing that, the problem was that I was really hooking at times my misses with my irons, even wedges, like pulling them pretty hard. And he was saying that was a result of that setup leading to getting handsy at impact and trying to square the club face up subconsciously. And that's very difficult to do consistently. So if that's creeping back in, because that's obviously a tendency, I think that's actually a cricket-related tendency, because if you think about your stance as a batsman in cricket, you tend to have your hands like right at your at the top of your pads, at your thighs, you know, at the point in your stance. So I think that's probably a bit of a hangover from that. And you definitely have a forward press because you're wanting to get the hands in front of impact, so you're keeping the ball down.
Yeah. But I mean, I also have a forward press in all of my shots as well, but my hands are, I try and get my forward press to a point where my arm and the club are effectively a straight line down to the ball.
Yeah.
So I'm slightly behind the ball. Well, not behind the ball, but my hands are slightly behind where that point would be. And then it's a slow forward press, and that's my trigger. That's my trigger to take the club face, the club.
Yeah, but
away.
You know you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not aware.
Whenever I've tried to get out of doing that, because there also has been times, and I've had coaching sort of, you know, quite a long time ago with sort of my coaches when I was in my 20s, where that forward press wasn't necessarily a forward press, it was a down press.
Oh, yeah.
So it would sort of go forward and down, and that was an issue. But I worked really hard on changing that to a forward press to a point where my arm and the club face were effectively a straight line to the ball. So you know, that's my trigger. It's always been my trigger to start my takeaway.
Look, it was interesting, and it was really enlightening hearing that from someone that had been watching, and someone obviously that knows what they're talking about with the golf swing as well, because it's you know, it's very easy to get feedback from plenty of sources if you want it. But I thought it was interesting that he was noticing that. So it's definitely something that I'll keep an eye on. Like I say, I think the you know, trying to be square at address, I think is sensible. And I know that when I was doing that, that was probably when I was hitting my irons the best, you know, to be honest.
Yep.
So that's probably something for me to focus on, I think would be reasonable.
I did, and this was something I haven't actually talked about. I did it's probably maybe 4 or 5 months ago. I bought one of those little training aids, you know, the magnets with that actually show you. So you stick the magnet on your club face, and it's got like a rod. That points out from your club face.
Yeah.
And you sit there at an address, and it actually shows you where your club face is pointing.
Yeah.
So I use that occasionally just to make sure that my club face is where I want it to be at address.
Yeah.
Just to make sure I'm not sort of, you know, getting either too open or starting to close, because I have, you know, closed the club face at different points. So I find that pretty useful. It's not something I use all the time. but it's something that I use just as, for my checks and balances to make sure that the club face out address is pointing where I want it to be. So, I mean, they're only, I don't know, I think I got mine for about $10.
Might have to have a look at that.
They're not very expensive, and I mean, you get on eBay or Amazon or something like that, and they're very cheap. So worthwhile getting just to check where your club face is at address.
I might have to check that out because I think that'd be interesting. Because what I think is square, it's probably not.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and from where you are at address, looking down at the club face, there can be an optical illusion if you think that you're square and you could either be open or shut, and you don't know because of the angle that you're at address. So yeah, just having something for some checks and balances is quite good.
Yeah, absolutely, good tip. We'll put that into play and check that out. But yeah, I mean, look, it is also, it's one of those ones I'm not reading too much into that round at the same time because, I hadn't picked up a club in 2 weeks before we had that round as well. And going out, it was particularly hot. And I just think it's one of those ones that you have a bad day every now and then. Doesn't work out.
Yep.
We had a lot of fun. It was, it was a good company out on the course. We survived. That was a win.
And even not playing as well as what you would like, golf is still good when you've got good company, right?
Oh, it's still fun. Don't get me wrong. We had a good time. So that was no drama. I mean, you always look. We've been through this how many times now? You always want to play well. You want to do as well as you can. But your enjoyment of the day out absolutely should not be dictated by what is written on the scorecard. I think we've learned a lot. I've learned enough, at least over the last couple of years, to understand that. So it was a fun day out, and good company. Shame about the golf, but that's okay. Move on.
It is what it is.
Hit a couple of good shots, so hang on to them and forget about all the rest of them.
Yeah. Or did you hit one of your last shots good? Like either your last tee shot or your last shot good?
The last hole, as you know, is my favourite, the 18th at Royal Dubbo. So we were playing that, playing up the hill. I hit a 4-iron off the tee. I actually hit through the green over the back.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, pitched on the green, didn't stop. Hit a pretty ordinary. So I was kind of on the back of the green, but on the low side. The Pilgrims, it slopes very, very heavily from the tee box left to right, or from where I was right to left. So I just had to hit a relatively easy bump and run just uphill towards the pin. So you'll be happy to know, Andy Walker, that I pumped it.
Andy Water.
That's a good name.
Who's that?
That's a good name. On that, AI is giving us automatic chapters in our episodes now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
And I don't know how this had happened. So last episode I was looking at it, I had it on in the car. This is a bit of a digression. Apologies, Pilgrims, but I had it on in the car. And it had gone through, and one chapter was, Andy's, Andy's health update or something. And then the next one, which was when I was talking about my improvement plan in the High Performance Centre, and it came up with a chapter called Mix Improvement Plan.
Okay. Go on.
Because I think it had translated Mr. Hinks into Mix.
Excellent.
That's all I've got. Anyway, that's an aside. So on the 18th, all I've got to do is a relatively simple bump and run uphill towards the flag. So of course I absolutely pumped it to the far side of the green and had like a 35-footer downhill with a 90-degree break on it. Which I lagged it to about a foot, which was remarkable. So it was nice. It was a 2-putt, which was fine. So it was only a bogey. But anyway, there you go. So I'll remember that part. That was a pretty good part.
Yeah. Fun times.
All right, that's done. So over to you, Andy Walker. I've heard enough about Mix Improvement Plan. Let's go to Andy Water.
Well, yes, as the pilgrims know, we talked about in the last episode. I did go and see the hand and wrist surgeon last week, last Friday. So been sort of, I wouldn't say looking forward to it, but keen to find out a bit more about what's going on. So I'd sort of sent him all my results, the MRI and the X-ray and the ultrasound that I had last year. And yeah, a couple of interesting things that he said. He said that the arthritis is not like really bad. He said you can see it. He said he'd probably call it moderate rather than,
Okay.
anything that's too bad. So that was good. He said like I'm like way too young to have surgery. He said
That's
that
nice.
your arthritis isn't bad enough, and B, you at 53 you don't want to be having surgery to restrict any movement in your hand, especially if you want to still want to play golf and want to play competitive golf. So he said surgery pretty much is out. He doesn't want to even consider surgery at this point in time. So basically, he said it's all about management and how you want to go about managing your the arthritis. So we had a bit of a chat about what I'd done and certainly what I've done over the last 6 months and diet changes and exercise and getting rid of, or, having a lot less alcohol. And he said all of that is really, really good. Uh, Getting inflammation, which is interesting because I'd sort of figured that out as well, that the diet and the exercise reduces inflammation, which then reduces the inflammation around the joints. And said, yep, absolutely, that's perfect. That will really, really help. And I did say to him that from sort of mid-July to around Christmas, I had barely touched any alcohol. I think it was like only two occasions in that time that I'd had sort of a drink or two. And I said it had significantly reduced the symptoms to a point where I'd been able to play golf again, sort of through October and November. And I said I sort of got on it a bit again over Christmas, and diet went out the window and all the rest. And we had that game with Mick
With
and
Mick.
Jeff,
Yep.
and yeah, it all came back, and I had huge issues. And what he said, he said that alcohol is actually a significant contributor to osteoarthritis. He said your cartilage, like most parts of your body, is made up of predominantly water, about 70%. And he said anything that dehydrates your body, which obviously alcohol does, is going to be bad for arthritis. So he said he's not surprised that I had that reaction, firstly to giving away alcohol, and then when I came back on it. Question he asked me is, am I willing to give away alcohol in order to continue to play golf and manage the arthritis?
Now, before you answer that question, I would invite each of the pilgrims listening to the episode to just consider their own answer to that question. And for some, it will be easy. Some people will go, I don't really drink anyway, so I don't care. Others will say, what is a game of golf without a beer or two?
Yep.
And many people on either side of that spectrum and somewhere in the middle. So, yeah, how do you feel? What are you thinking?
Well, in answer to that question, I guess, and when the pilgrims are thinking about that question, you might want to have a beer either during or maybe after, maybe even before your round of golf.
Some do.
But if that drinking prevents you from playing golf,
Yeah.
what's your answer to that? So you're not going to be able to go out and play, or at least play, with any reasonable capacity or competency, if you're going to continue to drink alcohol, and that's basically what he said to me. So certainly for me, I mean, when I was in my 20s, I probably, had a bit too much alcohol. And that was, I guess, probably one of the predominant reasons why I feel I didn't get as far as I wanted to with golf. I like to party, and I was out till sort of 3, 4, 5 in the morning quite often. Didn't help that I worked in a bar for 10 years, but that's that's another conversation. However, as I've gotten older, drinking for me it's not as attractive as it used to be. I love a wine, and you know I love a red wine, and enjoying a red wine for me is really, really good. I've never really been a beer drinker, but having wine and red wine, that's what I'm going to miss, not having alcohol. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to choose between having red wine and playing golf, it's going to be golf every day of the week.
I think it's no question.
It's not really a choice for me.
Yeah.
Golf for me, in my priority and where I am in my life and what I want from my life, golf is so far above drinking alcohol, and that includes wine. And it's not that I've got to give it away 100%.
Yeah.
It just means, you know, that when I'm playing golf and when I'm playing in a tournament, no. But potentially when I'm on holidays, I can still probably have, you know, 1 or 2 occasionally. So it's not like cold turkey, none ever. But what it means is that when I'm playing golf and when I've got a tournament coming up or when I'm practicing, I'm going to need to abstain.
Look, I think that's totally fair. I think I would make exactly the same decision as you in that situation. At the end of the day, this is the Missing Links Golf Show. This is not the Missing Links Arthritic Wine Tasting Show. But like, that's a fallback if we had to.
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
it's always an option. But yeah, it's. I mean, it's always a bit confronting when you get a message like that, though, for a health reason, and you know, it's not so much of a will I or won't I, but it's just one of those moments where you go, hey, that's a big call. Necessary,
and it's necessary. It's a bit disappointing, but you know, it is what it is. Like, I'm, you know, just got to move on and onwards and upwards, and just deal with it as it comes. I mean, you know, I've dealt with it from sort of July through to Christmas, and
exactly,
it was fine. Like I didn't. You know, I had a couple of drinks when we went to Malaysia in September, and I went to a funeral in October, and I had sort of half a glass of red to honour the guy that passed. So that was it. And did I think about it and did I miss it? Not really.
No.
So at the end of the day, I'm much more keen to get out there and play in senior amateur events and to continue on the golf improvement journey than what I am drinking wine and, you know, doing. I mean, I've done plenty of that in my life. I think that at age 53, even if I had to go cold turkey and I never had another drink in my life, I think I've done enough of that.
Yeah, you could cope with that 100%. Well, there you go. Well, I mean, look, the good thing is at least there's a way forward. You know, like there's a bit of an answer and an explanation to what's been going on. So I think that's positive. You know, at least we know what you're dealing with, and we know a way to work with it and how to make sure that you can actually still function. So I think that's actually a really good outcome. You know, we're not staring down the barrel of joint fusion surgery or anything that extreme. No. So it's
and there are a couple of other things that I'm doing. Look, I'm actually going to get an MRI on my left hand and wrist as well. I do, and this is something I haven't really talked about. I do get a little bit of pain in my left wrist in a different position to my right wrist.
Same thing.
It's sort of, well, the hand and wrist surgeon reckons it probably is, and that's why he wants me to get an MRI on my left wrist. Right. Doesn't impact my golf at all. And it's more of a like when I'm twisting, like, you know, opening a door, that sort of twisting,
or opening a wine bottle.
Exactly the screw toss. Where I mean, when it was a cork, it wasn't a problem.
It's fine.
These screw caps.
Yeah.
So that's something that I want to get to the bottom of. I'm not convinced it's arthritis. It feels more tendon than joint, but it'll be interesting to see what turns up in the MRI. So I've got to go get this MRI. The other thing that he mentioned that I'm not going to do at this stage, but it is an option, is a cortisone injection.
Right.
So he said with cortisone that it can be very targeted, so they can put the cortisone injection directly into where the arthritis is on in my right hand. But what he said with cortisone, it's a bit of an unknown until you do it, because with some people it works for 3 months.
Yeah.
Other people it works for a couple of weeks. Some people it just doesn't work
Not at all. Yeah.
So he said that's, if you get to a point where you feel as though you need something else, then there is the possibility of a cortisone injection. He has given me a referral for it. I'm not going to do it at this stage, because I have been back practicing in the high performance center and doing some work, and I actually feel pretty good at the moment. It's been a little while now since I've been off the drink, so I feel good. So I'm going to see just how far I can get with lifestyle changes, and if I need a bit of a boost at any stage, then I'll consider the cortisone.
Okay, makes sense.
So look, I think it's positive. I think that it's probably about as good a result as what I could have anticipated. I'm glad that surgery's not. I wasn't. That would have been a tough one to consider whether surgery would have been an option. But I think that there was another doctor that mentioned surgery as well, and I didn't react to that very well. I just went, surgery at my age, and fusing bones together and all the rest is just not where I want to go down. No,
absolutely not.
So
absolutely.
So anyway, we'll see.
Excellent.
We'll see where it goes.
Look, I think all in all, honestly, on reflection, obviously I've known this for a few days now, but I really do think it's a positive outcome. I think you got a way forward. I think you'll be able to manage it, and that's good. That is good.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, nice one. What else? What else has been going on?
Well, I mean, we'd also talked about potential target events, senior amateur events, and I know this is probably more in my domain than yours. I know your big focus this year is game improvement, and sort of focusing more on playing at your home club, and maybe there's a couple of events thrown in there.
There'll be a few. There'll definitely be a few. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want to just go and make up the numbers in events. It'd be nice to actually genuinely become a better golfer and be able to go and be, if not competitive to win, don't necessarily expect that in the short term, but certainly competitive to put a good showing out and post some good numbers.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like I'm there at the moment.
Yeah, you'd like to be able to maybe sort of, and the senior tournaments, if you were able to challenge like for top tens and the like, and top tens, I think aren't, if you had 4 or 5 over in one of the senior amateurs, you'd be pretty close to knocking on the door of the top 10. So I think if you can, in those championship type conditions, and you got to remember the senior amateurs, you don't play off the plates, you don't play off the tips. You're probably playing more Saturday men's comp.
Yeah, and that's interesting.
But it is a stroke event, and it is sort of championship pins. So
that's interesting, because the bulk of the tournaments that I've played, as you know, it's always been off the back tees, off the plates, and that's great. Like it's awesome playing golf courses like that. It's a lot of fun.
But that's New South Wales Championships, though. Like Correct. You're talking about the country championships. You're talking about the mid-am.
The mid-am,
and those events are going to be played off the plates, off the tips. So it's that's what you're going to get when you go and play in those events. However, and the same as if you go and play in ordinary Varden events as well. We played in the Hahn Open a few years in a row.
Macquarie Cup.
League. Macquarie Cup. That's what you're going to be playing, because that's the pinnacle of the club competition or the club's competitive event schedule. So it's like the club championships. You're going to be playing off the tips. You're going to be playing in championship conditions. But senior amateur events are a little bit different in that they are stroke events. They're usually midweek, and they're not played right off the back. So
Yeah.
it just gives you a little bit of a better chance, I guess, of putting in a good score.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Interesting for sure. So what's your list?
So look, my and this is my goal is on average to play once a month in a senior amateur event. So 12 events gets me to that point where I've got my full sort of list of events. So what the senior order of merit is your best 12 events. So for me, if I can get in 12 events, that at least gets my baseline for the order of merit. So if I can play in once a month, now January's pretty much done, so there's going to have to be a couple of months maybe where I'll play in two. The same as December. I don't think there's a senior amateur event in December, although I think Cromer. I don't think there's one in Cromer that's at the end of the year. So my target event list, and this I'll go through a few. There's probably a couple which are more only possibilities rather than probabilities. So this month, February, Tuesday, the 24th of February, there's the Castle Hill Seniors. Now, Castle Hill is a track I know reasonably well. My old mechanic, actually, when I lived in Sydney, was a member of Castle Hill. Used to go and play there relatively often, and same as played Pennants and Eric Upley Shield. I've played quite a lot around Castle Hill, so I'm hoping that's going to be more of a probability rather than a possibility. That's in a couple of weeks' time.
Nice.
So then March is going to be a bit tough. I've got a few events. I've got a conference towards the end of March. Also got my wedding anniversary in the middle of March, which we're going away for. So March there's a bit on that I've got. I've also got on Friday the 6th of March, my 30-year membership at New South Wales Golf Club.
Yes, very good.
So I was invited to a member recognition evening. Now I joined New South Wales Golf Club 30 years ago in 1996 when I first moved to Sydney. Now, the vast majority of that time I've been a house member, but a house member is more than a social member.
Right.
So, you'll see most, especially sort of country golf clubs, you've got your social membership. Well, a house member is more than that. So I've had a membership with New South for now 30 years. So I've been invited to a member recognition evening, which I'm really looking forward to. So my lovely wife and I are going down there on the 6th of March. So looking forward to that.
Very good.
So March is going to be a bit tricky. However, towards the end of March, Monday the 30th, there's the Bonnie Doon Seniors. Haven't played Bonnie Doon for probably close to 30 years. Talking about that long. I know they've redesigned the course, redeveloped it. I played the old Bonnie Doon, so I haven't played it since they've redone it. So I'd love to go back and play Bonnie Doon, but that's probably more of a possibility rather than a probability. Couple towards the end of April, there's the Oak Point Seniors on Tuesday, the 28th of April. Now, that's the old Liverpool golf course, because they carved up Cogra and the membership base of Cogra Golf Club got moved out to Liverpool. So they've amalgamated it now into Oak Point. Actually won the Liverpool Cup in about 1991 or 1992.
Nice.
So
I've had
a victory around Liverpool. So I'd like to go back and maybe have another game. But it's now not Liverpool. It's called Oak Point. So that's Tuesday the 28th.
Oak Point. Okay.
Although one event that I want to have a conversation with you about, of course, 2 days later, on Thursday, April the 30th, Friday, May the 1st, is the Duntry League Seniors.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that could be worthwhile.
Because we're not going to be playing in the Macquarie Cup this year.
No, but the Duntry Seniors.
I'm thinking the Duntry League Seniors. And if I play in the Duntry League Seniors, then I won't go to Oak Point. But if I don't play at Duntry, I'll play at Oak Point. So it depends on which way it falls. Will depend on what I actually play in.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's have a look at that. That could be good.
So that's a Thursday, Friday. So that could be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, the 12th of May, Strathfield Seniors.
Nice.
So that's quite good. Again, they've redeveloped Strathfield since I was last there, and I've heard differing reports about it. Some people have said it's pretty good. Others, not so much. But we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
There is at Gungahlin Lakes. There's a seniors on Saturday the 16th and Sunday the 17th, but I think that's a bit of a long shot.
Where's
I don't
that?
think. Gungahlin Lakes is down Canberra way.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I reckon I'll struggle to get to that, but certainly that's on the radar. I'm not saying no to that. Then we come down to the Camden Seniors, which I played in a couple of years ago. So that's Monday, May 25. So I'm keen to go back to Camden. I quite enjoyed playing Camden, and obviously did quite well there. Saturday the 6th, Sunday the 7th is the Port Macquarie Seaside Classic.
That'd be a cracker.
So, yeah, I'd really like to get up there and have a crack at that. Tuesday, June the 11th, Ryde Parramatta Seniors. Then there's a couple. Monday the 22nd, Pymble Seniors. Tuesday the 23rd, Oatland Seniors. Thursday the 25th, Killara Seniors. Now, I won't be playing in all of them.
Go on.
But I wouldn't, I maybe not two, but I'm going to maybe try and pick one of those. Probably the Oatland Seniors is on a Tuesday. That's my normal comp day anyway. So that's more than likely what I'll go to. But if I was to choose between Pymble, Oatlands and Killara, Oatlands is probably the last course on the list I'd want to go back to. I always played well at Pymble. I really like Pymble as a golf course. And Killara, I played in the New South Wales Junior Championships at Killara and really enjoyed it. So yeah, but it's more than likely going to be Oatlands, I would expect. July is going to be a tough one because that's school holidays, so I'm not convinced that I'm going to get to too many events in July. There's not really a lot on anyway, so
it's the middle of winter.
Middle of winter. There is one up at Nelson Bay on Monday, July the 6th, but yeah, I just can't see myself getting up there. The Mollymook Seniors is on Sunday, August the 16th.
You have to play that. I mean, it might be difficult getting accommodation, but you should certainly.
I reckon I'll be okay.
You should certainly have a crack at that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
and just before tee off, just see if you can stroll through the clubhouse with as many of the other players as possible, and just point out a few of the honour boards and go, "Hey, that's my name up there." See that guy?
Yeah. From like 35 years ago. Yeah, that's going to wash over really well. Then it sort of swings up my way around sort of the Central Coast. So we've got the Gosford Seniors. Probably will miss that. But then there's Magenta Shores, Friday the 4th of September. There's Monday the 7th of September, Cooinda Waters, Shelley Beach, Sunday the 13th of September.
Nice.
So, and then
there's a few for Mick Patterson to get involved in as well.
Yeah, and skip a couple of weeks and a couple of events. I'll come back to these other events, but there's the Wyong Seniors on Monday the 28th.
DMC might be strutting about there.
Yeah, I reckon that there's a few. I don't think I'll play in all of them, but if I can play in maybe 2 or 3 of those, and then, as I said, there's the Carnarvon Seniors sort of in between there, thrown in there on Monday the 14th of September.
Very good.
So that's, there's going to be a bit of golf played through September, I think, which should be good. Then it sort of swings out to Western Sydney, and there's sort of Thursday, the 8th of October is at Linwood. Monday, the 12th of October, Dunheved. And then there's one that's closer to me on the October the 26th, which is the Waratah Seniors. That's only sort of half an hour down the road, which is good. Twin Creeks. I haven't been to Twin Creeks before. That's again, that's out sort of southwest Sydney. I think Twin Creeks is, if I remember correctly. And then Chroma Seniors actually is Tuesday the 24th of November. So yeah, that's not and the Zoom presentation. So that's the end of the road when it comes to that's the last senior Order of Merit event that comes up. So
list.
So that's my list. But there's a couple of other championships thrown in there, being the country championships,
Tamworth.
Yeah, the 7th and the 8th of November.
Yep.
The other one to potentially keep in mind, and it's the same time one, it's the day after the country championships, is the ACT Senior Amateur Championship, and that's Monday the 9th to Thursday the 12th.
Okay.
So yeah, I had a look, and so we're going to have a choice between the country championships and the ACT Senior Amateur Championship. So again, I think that, and again, that's over 50. It's not the 55. There's a couple of the events, and certainly when you look at the Australian senior amateur events, they're over 55.
Yeah.
But all the ones that we've talked about, plus the ACT Senior Amateur Championship, is over 50. So that's potentially
that could be interesting.
So so the country championships is Saturday the 7th, Sunday the 8th of November. And then the ACT Amateur Championships is Monday the 9th through to Thursday the 12th.
Interesting. Well, we'll have a look.
We'll see.
We'll have a look. We don't need to make any decisions just yet.
Yeah, that's not a decision to be made probably until sort of September, October, I think.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
look, there's a reasonable list there. I think that there's enough there to be able to get my 12 events in. I'm not going to play in all of them, as I said, but I think that there's if I pick and choose, and especially there's quite a few that are on Tuesdays, which is my normal comp day anyway. It's usually pretty early starts, so I can get to the course, play, and be back by sort of mid-afternoon and still get a couple of hours work in, which is what I usually do when I play in the club comp. So yeah, I think it's doable. I'm pretty confident that, all things being equal and staying fit throughout the year and staying healthy, then I think 12 events is definitely doable for me. Yeah, by the end of the year.
Absolutely, sounds awesome. Nice work, Andy Walker.
Yeah,
it's a good program.
So is there anything on that list that I mean, obviously we talked about the Duntry League Seniors, and then either the country championships or the ACT Amateur Championship. Is there anything else that sort of piques your interest? I mean, is there a trip to Mollymook maybe for the Mollymook Seniors that could potentially happen? I mean, that's a Sunday, so that's over the weekend.
I think it's up for discussion. Definitely.
Because I know weekends are probably more in your wheelhouse than during the week.
Oh, yes and no. It's all about planning, Yeah. And so, look, let's say we wouldn't rule it out at this point.
Maybe a Port Macquarie trip.
How good would that be? That'd be great.
Now, I've never played Port Macquarie, but I've driven past it a few times, and it looks really good. I've heard really good reports about it.
Yeah, I haven't played it either.
So it'd be a really good weekend.
Yeah. I mean, again, let's have a look at it. Have a look at what the family calendar looks like, as well as the work calendar, as well as the golf calendar, and try and make them all line up at some point. I think that's always the challenge, isn't it? But we'll definitely do a weekend at some point. We also need to have a conversation at some point about when we're going to play for the Green Jacket this year.
Yes.
So that's a whole nother kettle of fish, and I think that's something that we need to put a little bit of thought into.
Yeah.
Figure that one out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that was the Macquarie Cup last year, which
That's right.
obviously is
Not going to
gonna
happen this year. So we need to come up with another plan there. And I think to all of the pilgrims that are on the Missing Links Golf Show podcast Facebook group that are able to get to that, we should definitely give them all enough warning and see who wants to come and join us for the Battle for the Green Jacket for a weekend. Yeah. That could be a cracking event.
In conjunction with the New South Wales Country Championship.
And we'll all stay in that Airbnb with that crazy backyard bar that I stayed in last year.
That'd be funny.
It would be. But anyway.
But even like a Mudgee trip. I mean, we played for the Green Jacket there at Mudgee.
And Mudgee's always a good weekend.
We first started the podcast, and that was only a few weeks into it. So I think that maybe a Mudgee trip might be on the cards. That was a good weekend.
I think what we need to do is pick a weekend, do a little bit of planning, put the message out to the pilgrims and see who wants to join us. Let's work on that behind the scenes.
I agree. All right, let's do that.
Nice one. Well, that's exciting. That is exciting. So with that in mind, Andy Walker, is there anything else that we need to cover off in this magnificently bad luck Nelson episode? I've had my feet in the air for the entire episode, by the way.
Have you? Excellent. Well, quite interestingly, in a couple of weeks' time, actually going to the Ed Sheeran concert here in Sydney.
Me too.
On Friday the 13th
I'll be going
February.
I'll be going on Saturday the 14th,
and it's the first time that I've got my two kids are going to a full concert, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So us as a family is going to see Ed Sheeran. Got really, really good seats. Cost me a bucket load, but that's a different story. Going to be well worth it because we all love Ed Sheeran. And there's one thing that we're going to be doing just about the whole night that I think will probably also last for the rest of 2026.
I might do it on the Saturday. But what is it, Andy Walker?
Rock out, pilgrims.
Nice. Thanks for listening to us today. We love hearing from our pilgrims, so please reach out to us through any of the links in the show notes. We know golf is hard, so we hope we can help you shoot better scores and inspire you to keep trying. Rock on, pilgrims.